Despite what you've been told, the dream world that you visit in sleep is actually a sacred space full of magical possibilities. In dreams, you can predict the future, visit with spirits, cast spells, become fully aware that you are dreaming, travel to other worlds, or even influence others. Yet there is little out there about how to actually do these things. And you may have become frustrated when trying to become lucid or even just remember your dreams. That's why I'm going to give you everything that you need to know about dream magic. After watching this video, you will know how to remember your dreams, how to decipher the meaning of your dreams, craft a magical dream pouch, experience spirit visitations while dreaming, lucid dream, cast a spell inside of your dream, and finally take spirit flight while dreaming. We're going to be starting from the most basic tips that you need for your good dream magic foundation to the most advanced at the very end, and make sure that you watch the entire video because some of them are going to shock you. My name is Molly, I'm a traditional witch and professional tarot card reader, and I make videos about all things related to magic, spirituality, and the occult. So if that's your vibe, make sure to like, follow, and share with your coven. Dream magic to me is one of the most powerful types of magic because you're already completely in a liminal state and past the barriers of the physical world and of your conscious mind. In your dreams, anything is possible, and I really mean anything. But the only people who can fully master this art are those who rebel against the current idea that dreams are just random imagery that your brain cooks up for no reason and delivers to you during sleep. There's something so much deeper to the imagery that you receive in your dreaming hours. As much as I know everyone wants to get into the most insane dream abilities first, you can't do any dream magic if you don't remember your dreams. And dream magic requires mastery, not doing something one time, but really practicing it, being committed to it, and starting with a good foundation. So before you begin lucid dreaming, prophesying, any of that, you must start with the number one step, which is to remember your dreams most every night. If you can't do that yet, don't fret. I will show you how right now. Research shows that within seconds of waking up, we forget about 90% of our dreams. 90%! So even if you think that you are remembering a lot of your dreams, chances are there are more that you could work on recalling as well. To improve your dream memory or work on any kind of dream magic, you need to have good sleep hygiene. What that means is to put all screens down before bed, to not drink any caffeine in the afternoon, to try and go to bed at about the same time every single night, and to stay away from alcohol before bedtime. Anything dream magic related, you are going to need 3 different things. The first thing is going to be a dream journal, and this is not negotiable. You actually really do need one. The second thing is consistency. These are habits that you are going to have to stick to as many nights in a row as you possibly can. And the third thing is determination, because this might not work right away. You are training your subconscious to remember your dreams, to do all kinds of things in your subconscious state, and that's going to take a little while. So have patience and don't give up. Now that you have good sleep hygiene, you are going to grab your dream journal and put it next to your bed. Right before bed, you are going to open it up to the first page and write, "Last night I dreamt ... But not only that, when you are writing that sentence, you are going to envision that you are actually writing it the next morning, and your brain is full of all of the amazing dream imagery that you got from the night prior. Do not let yourself feel any doubt or worry that this is not going to come true, because ultimately dreams and dream magic specifically is all about your intention and your subconscious mind. And you have to remember that your subconscious mind is listening to all of your thoughts and actually taking them as commands. So if you're worried and feeling insecure and thinking, I'm never going to be able to do this, then your subconscious mind is taking that as a rule, and you are much less likely to have success. As you fall asleep, mentally repeat a mantra related to your intended result. Mine is, when I wake up, I remember my dreams clearly and in vivid detail. Repeat that mantra to yourself while you visualize yourself rolling over the next morning, eagerly grabbing the pen to write in your journal all of the amazing dream memories that you have from that night. Feeling the accomplishment, the excitement, the invigoration, whatever it is that you think that you will feel when you fully remember every single detail in your dreams. Keep repeating this mantra and visualizing and setting your dream intentions until the moment that you fall asleep. Every single morning when you wake up, write down anything and everything that you remember from your dreams. And take this really seriously. Don't skip a morning writing in your dream journal. Solidify this as a part of your morning routine. There are a few other witchy aids that can help you if you are really struggling to remember your dreams. one of which is going to be a little bit controversial, but we're going to talk about it anyway. The first magical aid is to create a dream sachet, but we are not going to create any dream sachet. You guys know me, we're going to take your regular herb bundle and we are going to take it to the next level. I'm going to list off a couple of ingredients that shouldn't be too hard to get your hands on, but if they are, or if you can't afford them, don't feel like you need to go out and buy these things. There are probably some really great substitutes in the area that you live. Do a little bit of research and trust nature to guide you towards the ingredients that are going to work for you. Get a little blue or purple bag and fill it with mugwort, jasmine, lavender, eyebright, rose petals, rosemary, and a quartz crystal that has bathed in water underneath a full moon night. You are going to properly enchant this item on a waxing moon Monday in the hour of the moon. Bonus points if the moon is in Pisces. If the moon is not in Pisces, just go ahead and throw some symbol in your bag that represents the sign of Pisces. The reason I say that is that Pisces is connected to Neptune, and Neptune is a planet that heavily influences psychic abilities and dreams. In addition to the moon's influence on dreams, Neptune will also make your dream sachet especially powerful and aid you in some of the abilities that we're going to talk about down the road. Let's talk about why the ingredients here work and are not just vibes. Mugwort specifically is known to aid in lucid dreaming as well as astral projection. Jasmine is directly related to the moon and dreams. Lavender has ties to psychic abilities as well as good dreams. Eyebright not only aids in clairvoyance, but also helps with memory, which is crucial to good dream magic. Roses are not just for love, they are also for having prophetic dreams. So this sachet will also likely help you to receive dreams about the future. And the last herb, rosemary, a very classic witch's herb, not only gives you a little bit of protection in the dream realm, that also helps with things like astral projection. The quartz, which is full of not only the moon's energy, but also water's energy, which is a classic psychic conductor, then amplifies the energy of all of the herbs in your pouch and helps them to work even stronger. I made this charm for myself a long time ago and noticed an immediate improvement in my dream recall, as well as the wild and crazy things that started happening in my dreams. This next tip is going to be a little bit controversial, as this is a particular dream aid that is not usually recommended and is surrounded by cultural taboos and all kinds of warnings. I'm going to be honest, you might get some spooky results. But this is witchcraft, which is naturally transgressive, so do your spiritual protections regularly and consider giving it a shot. This tip to enhance your dreams, aid in dream recall, aid in astral travel, is to place a mirror facing you in bed. I know this goes against everything. It goes against feng shui, which I actually do try to follow pretty religiously in my home, but it does work. This is because mirrors are portals. Spirits can go through them, and so can you in your dreams. One of the most talented astral travelers that I know does this nightly and experiences huge success. Not only could this make your dreams more vivid and intense, but it also enhances the chances of you mingling with spirits in the dream world. If this becomes too much or you simply don't like it, you can always throw a blanket over the mirror or move it to another room. Once you remember your dreams, you can start decoding them. Your dreams are trying to tell you things. What's going to happen tomorrow, if you're on the right path, personal issues that you might need to deal with on the inside, good omens, bad omens, if someone is going to betray you. In my opinion, dream divination is one of the most detailed forms of divination that there is, simply because it's your dreams, and nothing is quite as personal or detailed as your dreams about you. So how do you do this? Well, once you've written your dream down, you're going to start piecing it apart bit by bit. You're going to dig into every single little symbol within your dream. Nothing is too silly or too random. You are going to be shocked at how much has meaning inside of your dream. If you are inside of a grocery store, that has meaning. Even if your hair color is different in the dream, take note of that. It means something. I'm going to give you a couple of my best personal examples in order to give you an idea of how to decode the dreams that you are having. And this is where we are also going to start to talk about prophetic dreams, because both of the dreams that we are going to go to did turn out to be telling the future. Before we get into my dream story, if you had a dream that ended up coming true in real life, drop it in the comments below, because I love these stories and I really want to know. Dream number 1. When I started working with my witchcraft mentor, I had a dream that I went into his place of work and he handed me a silver coin. On that silver coin, there was a woman and a child. To make things really simple, let's just break down him gifting me a silver coin. Silver is a metal that relates to psychic abilities. The coin was about the size of a quarter. It might have been just a little bit larger. It wasn't a penny or anything like that, so it did have some worth. Here you have my mentor handing me a spiritual gift that is worth something. The way that I interpreted the mother and the child on the front of the coin was that this was a worthwhile spiritual gift that I would eventually pass down. Now for a really witchy dream, let's have a bad omen. In early 2020, I had a very vivid dream in which I was a little girl again and I was walking to school in my old neighborhood. Everything about my neighborhood was exactly the same. It was a beautiful day, and oddly, there was no one around. I was maybe in 3rd grade in this dream. I was very, very small, and what was very ominous about this dream that gave away that it was clearly a bad omen was that when I looked over my shoulder in the dream, there was a gigantic black coyote on the other side of the street stalking me. Now, it didn't move, it didn't come towards me, and it didn't cross the street, but I knew this was bad. In the dream, I felt this horrible, horrible feeling in my stomach. I woke up sweating and anxious. The 2 important things to take away from this dream were that, number 1, I was a child. Children are naive, so I was naive to something. The second symbolism obviously has to do with the coyote, and if I had felt positively about the dream, or if the coyote had not been threatening, then I would interpret the more positive aspects of the coyote spirit. But this was clearly on the negative side, and coyotes signify betrayal. Wouldn't you know it, no less than 3 days later, I found out of a major betrayal that completely changed the entire course of my life. Always pay attention to the animals that show up in your dreams. And pair with that the color that the animal was, as well as how you felt about seeing the beast in your dream. Pay attention as well as to what side of the body you use in your dream or what side of the body things happen to you on. The left has a completely different meaning than the right. It's most helpful to draw your own symbolic meanings when you can, because every person has a different background and different symbolic imagery can come with that. But if you get stumped, there's no harm in using a dream dictionary and seeing if that helps. If you want to have a prophetic dream, simply change your intentions before you fall asleep. You can set your intention to learn the answer to a specific problem that you are facing in life, or to simply know what the next day holds. That last intention is really helpful when you are trying to learn how to decode your dreams, because then you can measure up the symbolism that happened in your dream to what happens in the next day, and you're gonna learn pretty quickly doing it that way. Kicking it up a notch, let's talk about one of the most exciting things that can happen in your dreams, which is being visited by one of your spirits. Spirit visitation can often be easier and more frequent in dreams because, again, you are not barred by the barriers of your waking conscious mind. Spirits may appear in an obvious way, similar to how they are portrayed in myth and legend, or they could appear in a symbolic way, either as an animal that relates to them or as an element. For example, if you welcome a water spirit into your dream, you may have a dream about a lake, riverside, or ocean. And believe it or not, that could actually be a message from that spirit or the spirit itself coming to say hello. If you want to initiate a spirit visitation in your dream, the easiest way is to simply ask. You can do this when you are giving an offering. You could go as far as to petition them with a candle, or you could put something that represents the spirit, like a seal or symbol or picture, underneath your pillowcase. Now, for those of you who might just be curious and are watching this video, you might be thinking, why would someone ever want to be visited by a spirit in their dreams? Think about it this way. You hear all the time of people having dreams of loved ones who've passed on. And yes, the spirits of the dead can visit you in your dreams. Oftentimes, witches are taught by their spirits in the dream world because it is so much easier to see them, converse with them, and learn from them. Now, you don't have to become lucid in a dream visitation with a spirit, but it's kind of fun too. So here is how to become lucid in your dreams. Before we get into lucidity, if you are enjoying this video about dream magic and gathering knowledge from it, remember to like, follow, and share. A lucid dream is a dream in which you wake up during your dream, but not physically. You become aware while still completely inside of your dream. If you've never had a lucid dream, or maybe you've had one or two, but you want them to be more consistent, schedule time every single day to question reality. Take a look around, even in the most ordinary situations, and ask yourself, am I dreaming? And then pick apart the reasons as to why you may be or may not be dreaming. The more frequently that you do this in the waking world, the more likely that your subconscious mind is going to automatically do it as you dream. Anything is possible when you are lucid, and it is one of the coolest experiences that you can have. Change your bedtime intentions from remembering your dreams to becoming fully lucid in your dreams. And keep up the same intensity. You are going to repeat a mantra regarding becoming lucid and aware in your dreams until the moment that you fall asleep. Use some of the dreams that you've now written down in your dream journal to picture yourself in one of your most frequently visited dreamscapes. Picture yourself becoming aware in the dream and having full knowledge that you are, in fact, sleeping. Not only that, but picture what you are going to do while you are lucid. A lot of people fly, change the dream, talk to celebrities. The list truly goes on. Once you're lucid inside of a dream, don't be discouraged if it turns out that staying lucid and staying asleep might be a little bit harder than you thought. Sometimes you might become lucid and then forget you're lucid within the same dream, losing consciousness and letting the dream take the reins again. If you're me, you're going to become very excited that you're lucid, and that excitedness is going to physically wake you up and jolt you out of the dream. The most annoying time that this happened to me was when I became lucid during a nightmare. I was having a fairly terrible dream that someone was kidnapping me and I was in the back of a van. I became lucid in the van and realized that I was dreaming, rolled through the van wall because it wasn't real, escaped onto the sidewalk, and became so excited that I was lucid dreaming and could now do whatever I wanted that it actually jolted me out of my body. And the only way that I can really describe this is my conscious body got stuck outside of my physical body. So I wasn't fully astral projecting and walking around the physical plane. I was simply hovering right above my unconscious body. I could see everything, but I couldn't move. And it was a very long, boring, and annoying night after that. But the goal is so worth it. Once you are lucid, try spinning around in your dream. It's thought that this stimulates the vestibular system, which helps you to maintain lucidity during your dream. Stay calm and try to focus on the physical aspects of the dream to keep you grounded within that realm. So now you're lucid. What can you do inside of a lucid dream? The better question is really, what can't you do inside of a lucid dream? You can fly, teleport, time travel, eat dream food, travel to other realms, and do magic. Yes, once you learn how to become and stay lucid in your dreams, you can do any magical ritual that you want inside of a dream, and it might even be more effective. Here is a little bit of advice on casting spells in your dreams from one of the most powerful dream spellcasters that I know. Training yourself to become lucid for me started with realizing I could move my fingers in a dream. Once you become lucid, you can go anywhere and change the dream to whatever you want. If you're in a nightmare, you can just exit. When it comes to casting spells in dreams, I found that my subconscious had already created a sacred temple within the betwixt for me to perform in. You will know instinctually when you have found this place. In dream magic, you have access to the energy of the space between worlds. The energy itself is primal, and it is up to you to know how to harness it. In this place, casting is more raw and less controlled. Instead of dipping a toe into the betwixt when one undertakes the becoming in the daytime, you are fully in the betwixt. In my experience, the spells done in dreams have worked every single time, but sometimes in ways I didn't expect. And I surmise that this is because in the dream realm, the associations related to magic, such as the moon and planets, don't apply quite as much because you are in another world. So you may very well end up with unexpected results. When you discover your dream casting sacred space, don't share what it looks like with others, as this makes you vulnerable. So when you become lucid in your dreams, set your intentions to travel to your magical sacred space. There, you can conjure up whatever ingredients that you need for the spell, and you might find that your subconscious dream self actually somehow knows more magical associations than your conscious self knows. I myself have found this to be true. I have done spells in my dreams, and when I wake up sometimes, I'm kind of confused by some of the ingredients that I might use in the dream. But after a little bit of research, I find every single time that there was absolutely a valid reason for why I picked that ingredient in my dream, and that my subconscious just knows more than I do. Any objects or ingredients that you might need in your dream, you can just create by thinking about it. Everything else, do exactly the same as you would in the waking world. And boom, you've just done a spell in your sleep. I don't see this particular type of magic talked about very much, so I kind of wonder if it's just not written about or talked about very often because it's something that's really hard to define and pin down. You can also teleport to magical realms in your sleep. But before you travel to any particular realm, try to do a little bit of research about the entities that you might find there and know how to do protections both in the physical world as well as in the spiritual. Since you're going to be teleporting a lot in your dreams, it's important to understand that sometimes the dream world meshes with the astral and sometimes the astral meshes with the physical. Sometimes witches might find themselves astral projecting or taking spirit flight while sleeping. Instead of having a lucid dream inside of a dream environment, you might have an innate gut sense that you were walking around in the physical world. And that is when your nighttime shenanigans have crossed into the astral projection category. Where does lucid dreaming stop and astral projection begin? Well, it's actually really hard to define. But you are going to grow a sense for which is which the more experience that you have doing it. Unfortunately, dream magic is not something that anyone can just put into a neat little box and tie a bow on top of, although I know we all like to do that. And you may end up having your own definition that differs from mine, but my definition of astral projecting during sleep would be having an awareness that you are no longer inside of your unconscious body, but you are also not inside of the dream world. You are either fully in another realm or walking around in the physical. Okay, I am going to give you an example of when I have done this. It's pitch black outside, and I find myself standing fully nude in France. And I think this is pretty obvious, but I don't live in France. It's incredibly cold, and not only is it cold, but the ground is covered in snow. The snow is not a soft, fluffy, nice kind of snow. It has a thin layer of ice on top. I find myself shivering and trying to walk up a hill towards a small, cozy-looking building with the lights on. Inside of the building, I see a friend of mine who does live in France, and she's talking to a man with very specific facial features. Curly salt and pepper hair, a defined jawline, 5 o'clock shadow, a ridge on his nose, and I hear their entire conversation. I spent the rest of this experience just trying to figure out how to get out of France because this was one of the first times that I had astral projected while sleeping and I truly did not know what was going on. Lo and behold, when I woke up, I immediately sent a message to this friend letting her know in detail what happened in the dream. I wasn't thinking anything of it. I thought it was simply a dream. But no, that night had been the first night that it snowed in the town that she lived, and she was talking to a man with all of the same exact features that I had described. In fact, I drew this man and she said it was the spitting image of him. Every single thing that I saw and heard that night, down to the conversation that they were having, was accurate. So I would consider this a very classic example of spirit flight, which witches are known to do. If you wanted to do this intentionally, then you would set your intentions at bedtime to leave your physical body and go travel the physical realm. As you relax, you would picture yourself exiting your body and walking around the place that you live or wherever it is on the globe that you want to go see. You could also do this from a lucid state. And once you get really good at being lucid, it's not going to be that hard. The more that you remember your dreams, the more you may realize that you're already doing this at night. Now, what kind of mischief could a witch get into during sleep astral projection? Obviously, you could gather information like I unintentionally did. You could also influence someone using your intention and sending the energy of your intention to that person. Please use your best judgment for this. Or you could simply travel the world. My favorite thing to do, however, when I astral project at night is to go meet the local spirits that roam my neighborhood at nighttime. This is a great way to meet the local spirits that already live by you, who may not be as famous as some deities, but might be really helpful to have relationships with, and might be able to teach you a thing or two about the land that you live on. So that's dream magic, and I honestly feel like I've only scratched the surface. I hope that this video was informative for you and helps you to take your dream magic up to the next level. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions about this subject or if you want to see a particular video next. I wish you all a witchy journey towards lucid dreams, spirit visitations, and spirit flight. Until the next video, goodbye.